when our nights are filled with basketball and our days are also filled with basketball, apparently, Nick spent his free day yesterday making a list of the players with the most to gain from winning a title. I also made this list, but Nick's list got us all thinking, and it got us all talking, and now it's got me asking Nick, who are your top 10 players with the most to gain from a title? Nick, Wright?
Well, thank you for asking, Jenna. And the three players you're seeing here in Russ, Tatum, and Ja, they're not included. Not because they don't have a ton to gain, but I only included guys who are on teams that have a realistic shot, at least a semi-realistic shot of winning the title. That way we could pare it down. Number 10, LeBron James. Why is he so low on the list? Well, when you're already at the top of Everest, when you're already the GOAT, what more is there to gain? I guess you could jump or something, but he's already there, so not much to gain. Number 9, KD. KD does have a decent amount to gain because it validates his decision to go to Brooklyn. And he would become just the 4th guy ever, potentially, to win Finals MVP for 2 different franchises. However, because he didn't play so much this year, and the story this year really was more Harden than Durant, it really would depend on how the finals look if KD is going to get the full validation, but obviously still a ton to gain. Number 8 on the list, Kawhi. You guys remember those 6 months when folks tried to convince you he was the best player alive and how laughable that was? Well, if 2 months from now he's holding the trophy, it would not be laughable. He would be able to join LeBron as the only guy to win Finals MVP for 3 franchises, and it would obviously totally validate his decision to go to the LA Clippers and make the Clippers and Lakers a real rivalry for the first time ever. Number 7, Joel Embiid. It would essentially finish a near-perfect season, aside from the injury. And it would show you he fully realized the potential we saw from him in flashes at the University of Kansas. And the only question mark with him was always about health. But if he carries this team all the way to the finals, he might become the face of the league. In fact, everyone left on the list could become the face of the league. Number 6, Nikola Jokic. Only 10 guys ever have won regular season MVP and finals MVP in the same season. It's Willis Reed plus 9 of the 14 greatest players in the history of the sport. Nikola Jokic could join that list if the Nuggets end up winning the championship. Number 5, Dame. You know, I've been working on this project of the 50 best players of the last 50 years for about 18 months. And when I whittled it down, I'm like, my goodness, Dame, not on the list. If he were to win the title, not only does he skyrocket up these all-time lists, it validates his I will stay here and build it around me approach while everyone else is moving around and trying to bring guys with them. And now your guys with the most to gain far and away. Number 4, Chris Paul. If the Suns win the title, the greatest point guards of all time list goes as follows: Magic, Oscar, Steph, Chris Paul. It will be the ultimate capstone to a career where the only question mark has been, can he hold up for an entire playoff run and get it done? He's never been in the finals. And revisionist history, we will probably give him half a championship for 2018 when it looked like they were going to beat the Warriors until he got hurt. Now your top 3 guys. Number 3, Brandon, James Harden. James Harden has done everything you can do in this league, except for this. He's got 3 scoring titles, he's got an assist title. He's got 1 MVP, he's got 3 second-place MVP finishes. He's got a 6th Man of the Year award. If they win the championship and he is great, you start talking about him as not only a top 20 all-time player, you start wondering how high up he can climb, because the only thing holding him away from that is postseason success. And then the guys with the most to gain, the 2 guys. Number 2 is Luka Doncic. It would be the greatest start to an NBA career for any player other than Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He would be, LeBron at 22 got his team to the finals. If Luka at 22 gets his team to a championship without another legit, forget superstar, all-star around him, that is how you start a career that could end up as the greatest player ever. And then number 1, the guy with the most to gain, Giannis. If Giannis goes through Jimmy and Heat culture, and then KD, Harden, Kyrie in the Nets, then Embiid, and then LeBron and AD in the finals, and at age 26 has 2 league MVPs, a championship, a finals MVP, a Defensive Player of the Year award, he will have accomplished everything one can accomplish in this league and will have done it faster than LeBron or MJ as far as winning their first title. Giannis, the only question mark with him is a deep playoff run. If he does it, particularly with the path he has to go on, he has more to gain than anybody. So there it is, your 10 guys, right. Brandon, with the most to gain from a championship this season.
Phenomenal. I mean, this is absolutely phenomenal. It's entertaining. And it's hard to debate this, Nick. And like I always tell you, I'm with you when you right, buddy. So I'll be quick here. There's 2 things that I want to highlight. Number 10, LeBron James. There's so much more meat left on that bone. When you talk about, what's out there for him to gain, it's the GOAT. I know you have him as the GOAT right now. But it is, it isn't even a debate, a conversation. If he wins 1 more, if he gets to 5, I mean, he is the GOAT when you look at longevity and you look at how he's impacted this game on the court and off the court. It really puts him right there in that discussion. And then the third guy on your list, James Harden. To me, he's the biggest innovator in basketball the last 15, 20 years. You know, when you think about the crossover, you think about Allen Iverson. When you think about the fadeaway, you think about who? You think about MJ. So for him, this little, whatever this thing they call the shuffle
the
shot.
Back.
I mean, it's ridiculous. Yeah. It's not even a step back. I don't even know what you call that. It's, years ago, we were like, is that a travel? Remember when he first introduced it to the league? Everybody, like, is that a travel? So for me, for a guy like this, who's been the biggest innovator in the sport the last 10 to 15 or 15, 20 years without a championship, he has a lot to gain. So phenomenal job laying this out. And, well done, buddy. With you when you're right.
Well, I think I think for Harden and CP3 and Giannis, it changes the narrative on them more than anything else. Those are the guys like Luka is basically on a free roll right now because he's so young. But the question marks about Giannis, Harden, and to a lesser extent CP3 is playoff performances wilds. So a championship, go ahead, Brandon.
But what you said about Luka is so true, man. If you watch this guy and you look in his eyes, like he is on a mission. This dude, if he wins a championship, which I don't think he'll win a championship this year, it's not even. He's the face of the franchise now. Like face of the league, face of the NBA 100%. Right now. So like he has a lot to gain. This dude is just phenomenal, and he's on a mission, and he's on a tear right now.
100% agree. Wilds, your thoughts other than just telling me what a beautiful list it is, which I appreciate when you do that. You're great at that, telling me how perfect my lists are.
Okay. Well, number 2, first of all, just raw nepotism for number 2. Let's just be honest here. He's your son. I feel like the fact that there wasn't a disclaimer in there, like, and by the way, he's my son. So it's like, I just have to mention it for the integrity of the show. All right. 1 through 7 is really interesting because there's guys that are trying to get it, right? I'm trying to change my narrative. I need that championship to have a sort of a Garnett turn on their narrative.
Yep.
8, 9, and 10 are really interesting. And Brandon already talked about LeBron. So I want to talk about 8 and 9, Kawhi and Durant. They've both got 2 finals MVPs. The list of guys with 3 finals MVP is really short. It's Magic, Shaq, and Duncan. If Kawhi wins a finals MVP or Durant wins another finals MVP, do you think they're like, hold on, I need to put them in the same conversation as Magic Johnson now? It's like, yeah, it's Kawhi and Magic Johnson. Or it's like Magic Johnson and Durant. It's like, or like Shaq and Durant. Like, yeah, they're both dominant players who on the biggest stage played their best and won 3 finals MVPs.
So if the audience confused, Wilds was given the list of people who have precisely 3 finals MVPs. Jordan obviously has 6. LeBron has 4. So it was the guys he would be joining. I would put Durant, I mean, I think Magic's the 4th greatest player ever, so I wouldn't quite put Durant there. But yeah, Durant, because he has the body of work in the regular season as well. He's the regular season MVP, he has the scoring championships, he has the longevity of it. Kawhi would go into the category of a top 10 all-time playoff performer without being a top 10 all-time player. Like those are, and that's not a shade. Like he would have to do more he would have to do more you can't put him up there with those guys as of yet, Wilds. Like okay. Even if they win the championship. Go ahead.
Just a quick argument against it is, this means he would have taken 3 teams to the finals.